Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar denies being part of a wider plot to remove the Prime Minister.
I took the decision based upon what I am willing to tolerate, what I am willing to accept, recognising that my first loyalty and my first priority is to my country, Scotland.
We'll speak to one expert about the opinion polls, also tonight.
I'm freezing cold and I need some vitamin D, so I'm here to get on the sunbeds.
Well, a BBC investigation finds misleading ads on social media which suggest sunbeds have a wide range of health benefits.
Coming up in tonight's sport, I'll be live from Fir Park ahead of what could be a crucial night in the premiership title race.
And how Britain's loneliest sheep isn't so lonely anymore. Hello, I'm Fiona Stalker. Welcome to the news at 7. Anas Sarwar says he stands by his decision to call for Sir Keir Starmer to resign. The PM's been facing criticism over the appointment of Peter Mandelson as US ambassador, despite having links to the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Well, the Scottish Labour leader called for Starmer to quit on Monday. He told reporters today he acted by himself.
This was my decision and my decision alone. I was not part of any wider attempt or any wider organisation. I took the decision based upon what I am willing to tolerate, what I am willing to accept, recognising that my first loyalty and my first priority is to my country, Scotland, and I am the one that's put myself forward to the country in 3 months' time. And the people of Scotland deserve to know what my standards are, what I'm willing to accept, if I'm willing to call out failure wherever I see it, and what I would do differently if I was elected First Minister. And that, for me, is more important than any given relationship or anything that might matter to the Westminster bubble.
So, do people feel Anas Sarwar was right calling for the PM to go? We went to Dumbarton, which is currently Labour, and a key battleground at the Holyrood elections, to find out.
I think he's probably quite right, because he's backtracked in quite a lot of things, and this latest thing about Mandelson, that's a shocker, an absolute shocker. You know, why on earth did he allow that man, knowing what he knew about him, to become an ambassador in the USA?
It probably is a good shout. Obviously, he's not a very supported Prime Minister, like many before him, I suppose. And it's just one scandal after another with these guys.
And no, because I think he's made lots of mistakes as well. So let's just try and get together. We need to work together, and I do think we need to agree to disagree.
Well, I spoke to pollster Mark Diffley about whether the polls can shed any light on why Anas Sarwar called for the Prime Minister's resignation.
I think the main motivational factor behind Anas Sarwar's decision this week was the polls. I mean, the polls haven't really moved in the last 9 months or so, and if anything, they've got slightly worse for Labour. We are now 85 days out from the Holyrood election, and Labour is currently third in the polling for Holyrood, and therefore, you know, something significant, something big had to happen, and this is what Anas Sarwar chose to do. It's a throw of the dice, maybe not quite the last throw of the dice, but it is, you know, we're getting so close to the election now that something, I think, significant had to happen in order to try and shake things up a bit and change the party's fortunes.
And there are those who have said that it's already backfired, that perhaps he went over the top too soon and on his own. But long term, I guess, his hope is that it could have some benefit in the polls, although it split Labour politicians themselves.
Yes, I mean, I think two things here. One is that until we see any fresh polling to take place since the announcement, which, you know, to be clear, we haven't done yet. This is the litmus test. The litmus test is what the public think, and we don't know. We simply don't know what the public are going, how the public are going to react to this. And until we do, I mean, I think it's best to kind of reserve judgment on whether this is a genius move or a move that's ultimately going to backfire. But I guess, what do we know? What does the evidence point to? I mean, the evidence does point to the fact that the public do not like parties that are feuding with each other, which are seem to be divided. So on that measure, well, it doesn't look great. And then I think at the more strategic political level, as you say, I'm not convinced that the idea behind this was just for Anas to do this himself with it, and then for everyone else to back away from, or for no one else to go with him. So yes, I think a lot of the commentary, the informed commentary, has been that it hasn't quite worked out at this stage.
And Mark, just very finally and very briefly, if you wouldn't mind, when will the polls give us an indication of whether or not Anas Sarwar's move worked?
Well, I don't know exactly when the next polls are going to be coming out. I imagine it will be over the next few days. I would be looking out for, as well as, have Labour got a bump up in the polls or even a bump down if people don't like it? But what the reaction is, there will be questions in the next polling around, did he make the right decision? Does it make you any more or less likely to vote Labour? So they are the things that I would be really, really looking out for in the polling that's coming up. And it will either give him and Scottish Labour some encouragement that they can still turn this around, or frankly will probably, if it goes the other way, will sort of seal their fate, I would imagine.
Well, Mark Diffley speaking to me earlier. Still to come, we have Weather with Christopher, where we'll also look at how the deluge of rain has been affecting people in the northeast. But first, it's sport, and Sheila is in Motherwell at Fir Park for us tonight. Sheila, hello. Have you bought your heated gilet yet? That's my pressing question.
I thought it might be. No, I haven't, and I regret it now. The weather is pretty miserable here this evening, but we could be in store for a fascinating night in the Premiership. We're at Fir Park, as you can see, where two of the informed teams in Motherwell and Rangers meet, but there's plenty at stake at both ends of the table. Aberdeen's visit to Dundee United has fallen victim to the weather, while Livingston travel to Celtic, Falkirk meet Dundee, and Kilmarnock and St Mirren meet in an important game at the bottom of the table. Well, last night, Hearts moved 6 points clear at the top of the Premiership after Thomas Magnussen's late goal gave them a 1-0 victory over Hibernian in the Edinburgh derby at Tynecastle. And this is how the table looks ahead of tonight's games. Rangers will be eyeing 3 points here this evening in a bid to narrow the gap at the top, while Celtic aren't much further behind. Motherwell are also looking to put a bit of pressure on the top three.
For us, it's the next big challenge on a tough place. I think in the last couple of weeks we were always ready for this challenge, and we took always good results from these big games. And tomorrow is the next step. We go there with confidence, with ambitions, and we have to do a lot of things right tomorrow to win such a game.
Of course, we have a lot of confidence going out here playing, and we'll see. It's a top team that has so much momentum and have recruited really well, and as I said, Danny has really gotten that club on track, and that was not easy when he arrived.
Well, former Motherwell defender Stephen Craigan is part of Radio Scotland's commentary team this evening. I caught up with him a bit earlier and started by asking him about Motherwell's incredible home form. They haven't conceded a goal here in the league since October, so what's that down to?
When they lose the ball, they get behind very quickly. They're very well organised, they're very disciplined, but they're good with the ball. They spend so much time with the ball, it's hard for the opposition to get the ball off them. So this is the place they enjoy playing at. Tonight's going to be a big challenge for them, but I'm sure from their perspective they'll want that to continue.
Yeah, the manager said yesterday he wouldn't be drawn on their targets for the season. What do you expect from them?
I would imagine coming into the season, top 6 would have been their kind of target of where they are. That will have changed because they've won games, as you said. They're keeping clean sheets, they're progressing really well. I think it's 1 defeat in 18 games domestically, which is incredible. So that will have changed. I think top 4 now will be their target. Some people have said challenging for the title. I think that's just a little bit out of reach for them. However, they will have an impact in it. They will take points off people. So I would imagine top 4 in European football would be a fantastic season for them.
And Rangers, of course, coming here in good form as well. They've won 7 out of their last 8 league games. That huge cup win at the weekend. Do you think they'll feel a bit of pressure though from Hearts' result last night?
I think they'll certainly recognise Hearts' result. They'll know the importance of tonight. I think sometimes pressure comes within. I would imagine Danny Röhl's quite a calm and collected character. He won't be putting pressure on, but players understand where they are in the game. This is a venue that have to come and at least take something from it. They don't want to be staying 6 points behind heading into the game on Sunday against Hearts at Ibrox. So if they could get something from the game tonight, yes, would a win suit them? Of course it would. But you said that they're in good form, they've got good players, scored 13 goals in the last 2 games, so they come here full of belief as well.
Could be a really big week for them, couldn't it?
Well, I think they knew that at the start of the week it was going to be a big week, irrespective of last night's result between Hearts and Hibs. Rangers have their own agenda. They're in a really good run of form. I'm going on stats, but 1 defeat in 17 games domestic is phenomenal since Danny Röhl came in. No Rangers fan would have imagined they would have been in this position. Now they're here, they have to try and capitalise on it, they have to try and kick on.
So a big night of football ahead, but let's get some rugby news now. And centre Hugh Jones insists Saturday's Calcutta Cup clash is the perfect game for Scotland to get back on track after a defeat to Italy in their Six Nations opener. Gregor Townsend's side fell to an 18-15 loss in Rome at the weekend, which Jones admits left the squad devastated. But despite England kicking off their own campaign with a comprehensive win over Wales, he believes the meeting with the old enemy at Murrayfield is coming at the right time.
After the game was one of the tougher changing rooms I've been in terms of like, look, we've experienced losses, but I think everyone was really sort of dejected after that. They're obviously on a big run of victories at the moment. They've got a great squad. It's a tough prospect. I think this is probably like the perfect game in opposition for us to you don't need any more motivation really. So, and especially after a loss.
Finally, Scottish figure skater Lewis Gibson is aiming to help Team GB win the first medal of the Winter Olympics as he partners Lila Fear. So good luck to them. And you can follow all the action from the Winter Olympics and, of course, all tonight's games on the BBC Sport Scotland website.
Excellent, thank you, Sheila. I'll see you back here when you've thawed out, so I'll have a hot tea for you ready, promise. See you soon, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, cancer charities and doctors are clear about the risks of using sunbeds and say the machines are linked to higher rates of skin cancer. But there's a very different story presented by tanning companies on social media. The BBC has found harmful misinformation on it, with hundreds of adverts saying sunbeds can boost energy and treat skin conditions or mental health problems. Well, the UK government says the claims are potentially dangerous. Here's a snippet of some of the ads and the response from the organisation, which represents tanning salons.
Tanning beds get such a bad reputation online. Firstly, people think it's dangerous. They're wrong.
I'm freezing cold and I need some vitamin D, so I'm here to get on the sunbeds.
A sunbed exposes you to UV lights, which helps to balance your vitamin D levels and triggers feel-good chemicals such as serotonin.
Our members are there to sell a tan, and we don't encourage them to make health claims. Nevertheless, modern science is showing that there are health benefits of increasing your levels of UV exposure within safe levels.
Well, let's speak now to Dr. Amy Perkins, who's a specialty doctor in dermatology at NHS Forth Valley. Dr. Perkins, thank you for coming on with us tonight. What do you make of these adverts?
It's so worrying. So for a long time, I've seen growing numbers of patients come in and saying, oh, you know, I saw this health claim on social media, or even I saw an advert inside the tanning shops, and claiming that it would improve their health, improve their sleep, give them extra vitamin D and improve their skin conditions. And the thing is, this is just not grounded in medical evidence. So for me, that was really worrying, because ultimately many of these patients were turning up with a skin cancer, very likely related to their sunbed use.
It seems that they're also targeting young people. How concerning is that?
It's extremely concerning, and there's many reasons for that. We know that just using a sunbed once in your lifetime increases your risk of skin cancer substantially. And the younger you start, the higher your risk. So much so that probably over 90% of people with a skin cancer under the age of 30 have used a sunbed.
That's quite a stark figure, isn't it? There was for some time quite a strong public health message about sunbeds being dangerous. Do you think that's waning a bit then?
Sadly, I think it is. And I think a big driver for that is social media. You know, we know that if you post something, you only get engagement if it's shocking, and, you know, and people are reverting to more and more shocking practices. So many people might know, oh yeah, I know that sunbeds are a bit dangerous, but they're probably not that bad. And then people think, oh, you know, actually it's going to reduce my risk of skin cancer, not increase it. And so people are getting more and more engagement. People are believing it because this content is being fed again and again.
And are you seeing, because I remember, you know, I'm going back a few decades now, where it would be accepted that sunbeds would help you not burn when you were going on holiday. Are you seeing the effects of that, the impact of, sorry, put my pen away, the impact of that?
So this base tan is a really common misconception.
Yeah.
It's very common. People say, oh, you know, I just use a sunbed before my holiday, with the implication being, oh, you know, that's fine, that will protect me. Sadly, that's not really the case. So any tan, and that's a tan from, you know, from a sunbed or a real tan, if you like, is dangerous. And a tan is your skin's way of crying out for help. And if you have a tan, that is unfortunately the way of, you know, your skin trying to protect you. Now, unfortunately, in the UK, our culture is kind of warped in that many people still unfortunately believe a tan is healthy. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
What would your advice be then to people who are watching this and are considering using sunbeds for whatever reasons? What would your advice be, Dr. Perkins?
So we would never recommend a sunbed use. In my opinion, the only way that we can ever be safe of sunbeds if there is an outright ban. We know, as I said, that using sunbeds just once increases your lifetime risk substantially. So my advice would be stay well away.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Very useful to speak to you. Thank you so much. That was Dr. Perkins there, Dr. Amy Perkins, a specialty doctor in dermatology at NHS Forth Valley. Thank you so much. I'll get my pen in a second. Now, let's look at some other news. And 160 jobs are at risk after the rocket manufacturer Orbex, after it said it intends to appoint administrators after failing to secure sufficient funding. The company is headquartered at Forres in the Moray Coast, where all but 9 of the workforce are based. Well, in a statement, Orbex said it would continue to operate as normal while exploring options, but has been unsuccessful in finding funds, a merger of, or a buyer. The company had previously planned to develop a spaceport in Sutherland, but these were paused after it shifted its focus to launch efforts in Shetland. Now let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland. A 63-year-old man has been seriously injured after being stabbed on a footpath in Clackmannanshire. It happened yesterday evening on Halton Crescent. Police believe it was a targeted attack. 2 15-year-old boys have been charged after a 94-year-old woman was pushed to the ground and robbed in Falkirk. It happened on Monday with a woman's handbag being stolen. Demolition of a cottage formerly owned by Jimmy Savile in Glencoe has taken longer than hoped. The property has been repeatedly vandalised and damaged since his abuse emerged in 2011. A number of roads were closed in Dunfermline after a manhole cover was blown off by an explosion. The incident, which was captured on CCTV, happened on Townhill Road. And 2 ancient Roman stone altars found near Edinburgh to go on display at the National Museum of Scotland. They were used by soldiers worshipping the god Mithras almost 2,000 years ago. And for more information on all these stories, you can scan the QR code on the screen now. It'll take you to the BBC Scotland News app, where there's more for you, including a decision by MSPs to reject calls to protect a group of ancient goats. Now, the sheep, dubbed the UK's loneliest, is no longer alone after giving birth to twin lambs. Fiona hit the headlines 2 years ago when a kayaker spotted her trapped at the foot of a steep cliff at the Cromarty Firth. She was rescued and taken to a farm park in the south of Scotland. So how are the famous ewe and her babies? I spoke to Ben Best at Dalscone Farm near Dumfries, who was with the Woolley family.
She didn't actually labour the same as what you would expect a sheep to give birth. Normally it's within an hour, couple of hours, and they've given birth. But Fiona was actually in labour for 9 hours.
Oh.
And we just had to let the process carry on because she was just dilating all the time and getting that little bit bigger, a little bit more room every single time. And then eventually we were like, no, we're happy enough. Because she's a gimmer, she's a first-time mum, and yeah, we just needed to let her open up naturally, and then after that, we had to assist her and help her get these babies delivered.
I mean, she's maybe too posh to push because she has become a celebrity, Ben. So maybe she's just like, what's going on? Why am I doing this myself?
Knowing Fiona, I have no doubt about it.
Yeah. So what's Fiona like? I mean, and our audience, I'm sure, will have heard a lot about Fiona. And you and I have spoken many times before and followed Fiona's journey. But she was in fine fettle before she got pregnant, wasn't she? She was on quite a health kick, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was on a bit of a health kick, and she really likes her food. She enjoys her food, and we have to monitor how much she eats because she's very, very greedy, and that was one of the kind of dangers that we had when she was pregnant, because heavy yows like her are quite susceptible to getting something called twin lamb disease, which can be very dangerous for them. So we needed to keep her energy levels up, her calories up, and make sure that she had enough energy and food going in that she can grow these babies happy and healthily. And she looks like she's done a great job, doesn't she?
She looks like she's done amazing. I mean, look at that lamb. It's like Velcro to your face. You adore it, don't you already? Is that she or he?
This is a little boy.
It's a little boy, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have names for them yet? Because I think Fiona was on a Shrek theme, wasn't she?
Fiona's on a Shrek theme, yeah. And we've had, from our social media channels, we've had a lot of feedback from what everyone thinks they should be called, and going by the Shrek theme, Shrek's babies are called Felicia and Fergus. So we might be going down. This could be little Fergus.
Oh, little Fergus and little Felicia. How much?
And little Fergus here, you might notice.
Yeah.
He has kind of puffy eyes. He's got quite sore eyes, and it's called edema. It's quite a common thing for lambs to get when they're newborn, and they have inturned eyelids. Which makes it scratch in their eyes, and it's quite sore on them. So he had little tears pouring down his face, bless him, but we had to give him an injection under the eyelid just to puff them out and keep the eyelashes away from his eyes. But he's doing absolutely fine now, and we've got him sorted out.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for showing us Fiona and her family. I'm just gutted I wasn't there for the birth because I had plans to do so. But we will come and visit very soon if that's okay. All the best.
Absolutely.
Give them a hug from us. No longer lonely, Fiona. It's now 20 days since Aberdeen had any sunshine. A yellow weather warning remains in place for rain, with some flooding and travel disruption expected. For some farmers in the region, it's become dire. I spoke to Kevin Gilbert, who told me about the situations that he found himself in.
If you've got low-lying fields and winter crops of wheat, barley and oilseed rape, then they're out of sight underwater, and if they're underwater for 5 to 7 days, then they'll rot out and they'll need to be replaced with spring barley. So there'll be 2 crops in the same field, so that's awkward. You can't get slurry and muck out to do ploughing for spring barley. The spring barley is used to make your malt whisky, so we can't go on with the work for that, so it looks like that's delayed. Cattle and sheep, last year there was a drought, so there wasn't as much fodder made. And now we're into this real deluge, so people are running out of fodder, but they've had to bring all their animals in because everything's so wet.
I mean, I presume that's got a financial cost for farmers.
In terms of cropping, there's going to be less output from those fields because you've got the same costs twice over. And then also there's people going to be lambing soon. They've had to take their sheep in to hopefully keep the lambs viable. But there's not many people lambed yet, but the fields are so wet and there'll be people lambing outside in March. So we're just hoping that it'll dry up, but February doesn't look great.
It doesn't, does it? And is this how things are? Is this almost the new normal for people working in the rural affairs industry?
It seems to be. I don't know if it's climate change or not, but we've got loads of extremes in weather after the drought last year, and then this prolonged wet period, what with the heaps of snow in the first week of January, which then melted, and then all this rain, and 21 days in Aberdeenshire with no sun, so we're all feeling a bit depressed.
How are you managing to keep your spirits up, Kevin?
Well, just don't look at the weather forecast, I think, is the main key, and hope that there was... In fact, I did see the sun for 5 minutes today, but I don't know if that counts.
Well, 5 minutes. I would take 5 minutes of sunshine. Christopher, we're going to talk a bit more about the weather. Our colleague Gillian Smart was explaining that the weather is stuck, which is why we're getting so much rain. So basically what we need is a meteorological laxative to get things moving.
Yes.
A phrase I didn't think you'd expect tonight. Give me a glimmer, Christopher. Let's talk about the sun.
You're right. We've not seen sunshine in Aberdeen for, what, 3 weeks now?
3 weeks.
21st of January, we saw 6 minutes of sunshine, but nothing since then. It's a record-breaking dull spell. As you say, though, not all about sunshine. Rain has caused so many issues as well. This chart here shows us exactly where has been wet and where hasn't. If it's white, it's average amounts of rainfall. This is January, as you can see. Brown indicating less rain than normal, blue more rain than normal. Parts of the northeast, Aboyne in particular, 4 times their normal January average in terms of rainfall. So what's going on? Let me show you. We've got the jet stream normally racing across the Atlantic, delivering low pressures and rain, but we've had high pressure blocking their eastward progress, and that stuck or blocked weather pattern has been with us for so long, a southeasterly feeding in that rain. And it's part of our natural climatic variation, but with climate change and a warming world, actually it just exacerbates it, because for every 1 degree of warming, the atmosphere can hold 7% more water. So when it rains harder and for longer. And February has been no better, really. Aboyne already seeing double its February average rainfall, Aberdeen double as well. In fact, Aboyne has had about 6 months worth of rain in 6 weeks. Is there a glimmer of hope? Yes, there is. Let me show you what's happening over the next few days. Because we've had low pressure for so long now, but actually it sort of starts to clear eastwards. That high pressure loses its grip, and then we'll start to see a bit of sunshine actually by the end of the week. And then Sunday onwards, we're back to that normal, if you like, sort of west-southwesterly driving in weather systems, but they're allowed to pass through. So this is the picture first thing tomorrow. It's cloudy with outbreaks of rain, sleet and snow through central and southern and eastern Scotland. Coming in on those now northeasterly winds. Bit of sunshine in the far north through towards Skye, the Hebrides and the Northern Isles, but you can see we've got this feed of showers here as well coming in on those northeast winds. 1 Celsius here in Lerwick to start the day, pretty chilly. So it's not going to change immediately, and for many tomorrow it's still cloudy, cold, damp, but there'll be signs of brightness in the far north. The cold air really digs in though tomorrow night, and there is a countrywide Met Office yellow warning for the risk of snow showers and ice. Now, those snow showers not everywhere, but certainly across parts of the north and the east of the country, and that's with us on Friday. But many areas on Friday, bright, crisp, sunny, cold. Temperatures by mid-afternoon, 4 to 6 Celsius. And those snow showers could see some winteriness right down to pretty low levels. It's a similar picture, actually, as we head through to Saturday, with lots of sunshine. Not too bad at all, but you can see over my shoulder there, the rain already starting to move in from the west. And as we head through the next few days, Sunday into next week, low pressures moving through. But that's the key, they're moving through. So the rain will come and go, and there'll be some normal sort of February weather. Before we get there, this is Saturday night, rain moving through, but meeting the cold air, falling as snow. Sunday morning, snow right down to sea level in the east, but then mild air chasing it away, chasing it back up into the hills. And we're back to that sort of typical west-southwesterly with outbreaks of rain and some hill snow. So you can see it's a bit up and down over the next few days. Hold on to that sunshine though on Friday and Saturday, because the rain will soon return on Sunday and into next week too. That's the forecast for now.
I've got a glimmer from you. Thank you so much. You know, when you mentioned rain again, the gallery in my ear sighed. There was a very audible sigh, Christopher. But Friday, Saturday,
good.
We're going to be okay.
We are.
Valentine's Day, you bring me a glimmer.
You're going to love it.
Warmed up. Thank you so much. And finally, in the last few minutes, the first images for the new series of Vigil have been released. This is a first for us. The third series of the BBC drama has been filmed in Scotland and Svalbard. The 6 episodes, which starred Suran Jones and Rose Leslie, will see their characters travel to the Arctic, where a covert Special Forces member has been shot dead. The series will air later this year. I cannot wait. Well, that is it from us tonight. Thank you for your company. And as always, thanks to the team on the studio floor and in the gallery. Thank you for sighing in my ear. Join Amy Irons tomorrow on the 7. You can wake up to Radio Scotland Breakfast. For all you need to know, Christopher and I will be on Friday morning with you. Have a good one. Good night. Enjoy the rest of the evening.